Hi, everybody. And I bet you're a little confused right now. He's like, wait, I could have swore they already did this. But you are welcome to Games My Mom Found, a recovered episode. Maybe the first, maybe the second. I don't know. I'm not really sure at this point, depending on when you hear this. I don't know what's going to happen.
The first of many, or at least the first of several. Hopefully the first of many.
It will be the first of many. There's a few I want to. So, I am Mike Albertin, as I should always say in every episode. And who's with me?
Bounty Hunter Michael Craig Hughes.
I know we started this off really weird, but I partly wanted to, partly, again, I go by the seat of my pants on the show.
Yep.
So, as I kind of already joked about, what we are doing is we are going to be going through and recovering some of our old episodes, since now Mike is part of the show, and plus some stuff, it's just been a while. We just, you know what, I want to play it again.
Yeah.
And this is one of those games, the first episode came out, episode 43, back in November of 2019. At the time that we're recording this is February of 2021, not when you're hearing this, but it's just so we're going to be doing this every so often. You'll still have your regular episode. This will just be an extra thing to have there for newcomers who might not want to go through our entire catalog, or just games that I just want to cover again. So, yeah.
Or maybe like the current cast versus the old cast. Who knows?
Yeah. I think some people do.
I do. That might be personal bias.
A little bias, but no, I know in any podcast, people will sometimes prefer certain people over people.
Yeah, for sure.
So we are covering Metroid Zero Mission, and I'm,
2004. I thought you were looking for the release year.
Oh no, 2004.
Yep.
Thank God, not 2002. Whew.
Yeah. No, that was Fusion. We did that one already.
Yeah, and I don't need to replay Fusion. So originally we weren't planning to recover this. It's just kind of, if you do follow things that I do, I recently covered this game, at least in the time of this recording, on Hey, I Like That Game. They did an episode about Metroid Zero Mission. So if you need more Metroid Zero Mission, go check that out too. But this is going to be our version of it, our take on this.
Yeah, might as well get two birds with one playthrough.
Plus, as I've said this before, this is probably my third time saying this, I really like this game. This is probably, in my opinion, out of the few Metroids I have played, I've only beaten 3 at the time of this recording. Super Metroid, Metroid Fusion, Metroid Zero Mission. I played a lot of Metroid Prime. I played original Metroid. This is my favorite. I played Metroid Other M.
We don't talk about that one.
I didn't play enough to ever be able to give a really solid comment on it.
Mm-hmm. Maybe
I played it for like 2 hours maybe, and I thought it was all right, and I just stopped playing and never got back to it, unfortunately.
We'll fix your Metroid gameplay holes.
I'm okay with that. I plan to have you play Metroid 2, another Samus Return, and another Metroid 2 remake at some point, so don't worry. We'll take care of it all.
I've beaten all of them except for A2M or AM2R, so...
Someday.
Yeah,
but that's not why we're here. So for those that don't know, Metroid Zero Mission is a remake of the original Metroid for Nintendo.
Right. Reimagining, I think, would be... I don't know. There's remake, remaster, reimagining. They all mean different things, and who can keep track of what means what these days?
It's probably more of a reimagining, but I mean, it's pretty like same for same with a lot of same beat.
Yeah, it's closer to Metroid 1 is than Silent Hill Shattered Memories is to the original Silent Hill.
Someone gets that reference out there. I do a little, but not completely. But I never played it yet.
It was a reimagining of the original game.
I want to say most of the areas are exactly the same from the original Metroid. Maybe a little different, but not like huge from what I've seen.
It's hard to tell with the vastly superior graphics.
One question I do have, was Power Grip in the original Metroid?
No, that was new to this one. Well, okay. I mean, Samus could cling onto walls in Fusion, so I guess they wanted to incorporate this. But since it's a remake, they needed an item to make it make sense. Is the way I took it.
Okay, because that's one of my biggest, it's a huge improvement for me, and it's like the one item that really, once you get it, the game is much better, because it sucks before you can grip on things.
I don't know if it sucks.
It sucks before you can grip on things. Yes. I hate it.
I thought it was cool that in true Metroid style, they kind of, like before you get the bomb, you can see things that you could bomb, but you can't do anything about it because you don't have the item yet. But before you get the power grip, there's a lot of ledges that are just out of your reach. And you don't really realize it until you get that power grip. And it really, like you said, it really opens things up.
It changes the entire game.
Yeah.
Another thing that's so different between Metroid Zero Mission and the original Metroid is that, one, it's better systems, everything's more colorful, but it has background. Like, if you look at the original Metroid, everything's just black.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's one of the huge improvements about this game.
I beat that first one probably 5 or 6 years ago, and man, is it tough to go back to. Like, I know it's got its defenders out there, but it's such a product of the time.
Someday. I've never played it. I really want to for this show for a mini someday.
Yeah, well, you'll be set because you always print out maps, and you absolutely need it for that game.
Oh god, I'm getting a collection of maps.
Unless you really like wandering, you really want that map.
You know me. You know I won't be wandering. I won't be wandering without a clue. This Metroid Zero mission, though, it really does surprise me. Like, one, it has a story, which I think is... I know some people complain about that, but I like a story in my game. Unlike some people I know who don't care. I enjoy it. It's not as egregious as Fusion is, where it's like, hey, look at this wall of text. We need to talk every time you go through these navigation rooms. It's just a couple of cutscenes here and there, and you get that text block at the beginning where they name drop the name of the game. Which is
so-called Zero mission.
I could have done without that. I could have just said, this is my first mission. I could have done without the little Zero mission jab, but it's okay. Like, it's not egregious to me.
Yeah, it's fine.
There's many worse things they could have said.
Yeah. It's the other M.
It is cool that this is her first mission, that you are going back to the planet that she was on originally. I want to say she was on Zebes before the pirates attack all that time.
I don't know a whole lot of Metroid lore. Like, I know the Nintendo Power comic covers it pretty well. I think it's based around Super Metroid. It would make sense given the time, but I don't know. I don't know a whole lot of it.
I do know the Chozo found her when she was a kid because Ridley and the pirates destroyed her family who were scientists. She was, picked up by them. They're the one that gave her the power armor. That's why she can interact with the Chozo statue throughout this game and give her enhancements.
Mm-hmm.
I know a decent amount of the story.
Maybe if we play Other M, we'll get that story that you crave so much.
I do want to play Other M.
Well, we'll get there. I want to give it a fair shake.
So mostly this game is all about exploring. It's all about going through this world. But I think it does a very good job of hand-holding without hand-holding. It doesn't... it gives you an arrow when you go to a certain statue, say, okay, go in this general vicinity. But you can kind of get there how you want. It's usually something that you can't exactly get to the moment. You got to kind of find your way there. But at least it gives you an idea of what you're doing versus some games where you have absolutely no idea what you're doing in this type of style of game.
Mm-hmm. Or the opposite end of Fusion again, where it's like, okay, you're in this section now. We need you to do this, this, and this, and then come back here, and we'll tell you where to go next.
I'm okay with that part in Fusion. No, my only issue with it was the damage in Fusion. That was my main issue.
Oh, yeah.
You take way too much damage in Fusion, and I don't like that.
It's such a weird choice to make after so many, a handful of Metroid games before it. Like, why all of a sudden
you mean 2?
Yeah, 3. Because
okay.
Super would have been in there, too.
Okay. There aren't many before it.
No. There's not been a whole lot since then, either.
No, it's unfortunately one of those series that you just don't get enough Metroid.
Oh, well, we get more than F-Zero, so...
I never got into that series, so I'm not hurting.
Me neither.
Okay, I should know that. You don't really like racing either.
Yeah, but they're the two Nintendo franchises other than Mother that people throw out there. Like, we haven't had a game in so long.
Yeah, you're not getting their Mother game anyway. That's a whole different thing. That's another conversation for another day.
Save that for the Earthbound episode.
I just love the way that Metroid Zero Mission does. The way everything opens up. Like, there'll be a time when you beat a boss and you'll see something crumble when you get up there, and then that's what kind of leads you to the next area. Like, the game does such a great job of pushing you along, keep giving you those breadcrumbs of where you want to keep going. And the power-ups are pretty often enough that I never felt like I wasn't getting anything. Felt like I was missing a lot of stuff like I did when I played Super Metroid back in the day. At least that's what I remember from Super Metroid.
It definitely helps that the game is so condensed, too. Like, it's a very short game, even by Metroid standards. Like, my playtime, I clocked in at just under 2 hours, so it's only because I played before. I'm sure first-timers, it's a little longer than that.
About 4, I think, on average is what it says.
Yeah, so that helps. So it's never too far between where you're trying to go and where you're going, and like you said, the pickups along the way.
You get more missiles than you needed. Like, when I got near the end of this, every boss fight I got in this game, I never felt like I was running out of missiles. I never felt like I was in trouble. From what I remember, Super Metroid, God, I need to replay that. I had that issue.
It definitely felt like the point where I didn't feel as nervous using as much as I did. Like, the The bigger two-legged enemies, I'm not sure what they're called. I know there are zoomers, and
I can't help you.
that's about it. But yeah, the big guys that change color as you deal damage to them, I felt pretty good about just unloading missiles on them. I never felt too worried. Yeah,
and that's what's nice. Like, you never have to feel like you can't use your missiles or you just got to save them forever. Like, it doesn't do that to you. And I like that in a game when I can use my power-ups. Because, the show, I tend not to use power-ups in games. I just hold on to certain things for way longer than I need to for no other reason.
Mm-hmm.
So that's just kind of me. But I didn't feel like that in this game. I did use missiles. I did use other stuff because I felt like it would help.
That's weird. I wonder what's different between this and like Mega Man, where you don't use the robot master weapons.
Because I save it for the boss fights. I don't use a lot of missiles, don't get me wrong. I still save majority of them. But because the enemies give me a decent amount, I'm more willing to use it.
Yeah, it also helps with the Chozo statues that we mentioned before. Will completely refill your stuff, even the ones you've used before. So you're never too far away from one either. They're not like on the map, but you'll tend to pass them quite often.
Yeah, like you said before, the world is kind of small.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm okay with that. Like, I don't mind. The world is big enough that it doesn't feel tiny, but small enough where it doesn't get overwhelming like it could.
Yeah.
It could easily get overwhelming in this game. Metroid can do that. Super Metroid,
yeah,
but I remember overwhelmed me when I played it for the first episode for the show a long time ago.
Like, I've played Super Metroid several times over the years since it came out in 93, and still, every time I go to Meridia, I'm lost. Every time.
That's one I really look forward to revisiting for multiple reasons.
Yeah, I think it would have been our first recovered episode, but this lined up so well, and might as well knock it out.
Yeah, I didn't really want to replay it again at first, but then later on, I'm like, I could replay this again, and I wouldn't even care. Like, that's, and those who listen to me, I don't like to replay games a lot often. Like, it's got to be something special for me to keep going back to it. And this is one of those games that I can be okay. I'm too damn busy right now, but other than that, I'm okay with it.
It helps that it's so short too. Like, you know you're not going into a big time sink. It's not Ocarina of Time or something that is going to take you however many hours. You just pick it up and run through it in a couple of big sittings and be done.
2.5 for me is how long it took to beat it for the last time for this episode.
It was like I got home today from work and I'm like, I know we're going to record that later. I might try and run through it again, and I made it all the way up to just fighting Ridley. So, which probably
not that far
of the way. Yeah.
Yeah. It's pretty close because after Ridley, you go to Mother Brain pretty quickly, and then you beat in quotation the regular game, and you have then you have the extra part.
Yeah, which that Mother Brain fight is still garbage. I hate it.
It doesn't take a lot of hits, but it's the worst part of a good game.
Yeah, you got the Cheerios flying in, you got the cannons shooting at you, and
I also want to talk about like Kraid, like the way that they made Kraid so much better in this game compared to the original. Where in this game, just like in Super Metroid, even though my first experience of Kraid is Smash Brothers, I never played Super Metroid as a kid, or I never got very far, I should say. So I wasn't exposed to things like that until way later.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's Smash or it's a second Smash. I can't remember which one has Kraid. I think it's Melee though.
Melee, yeah, it's the Brinstar level where he like spins the platform.
Yes.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So my whole thing in Kraid, I always know Kraid is this really big enemy who takes up half the screen. And this fight I felt was very, very good. Like, it's a good, fun boss fight. It's kind of epic where he's shooting like the part of his body at you, and you climb up and you shoot him in the face when he opens his mouth. And it's not too hard. You're not taking too much damage. You can get more health. You can get more missiles in the fight, which I love. And it was fun. Like, I had a great time fighting Kraid in this game.
I'm gonna blow your mind. This is basically a carbon copy of the fight in Super Metroid.
Well, I know, but it's hard to Super Metroid. I do remember that. I do remember that it's about the same.
Yeah, I think he can smack you with this claw on Super Metroid, and this one is just like he's got little T-Rex arms, so they don't hit you.
Okay, I didn't. He died pretty quick for me, which is also kind of nice. Like, it wasn't a huge problem.
Yeah, that's definitely the big improvement over Fusion is the Ridley fight. He goes down like a sack of potatoes in this, which, I don't know, people like their boss fights, but Ridley was a pain in the ass in Fusion, so it was nice to just destroy him by unloading missiles on him in this one.
That's the thing, nothing is super challenging in this game, which is, it's nice. I mean, again, some people are like, well, I want my challenge!
Right.
Plenty of games for you for that. Just go hook up a Nintendo, you'll be just fine.
Yeah, or play Fusion.
Okay, yeah. I don't like a challenge in my game as much, because I'm too damn busy because of the show.
Right.
I just don't like a challenge anyway. Who am I kidding? I always play things on easy before I did a podcast. Because for me, I want to tour the games. I want to enjoy the world, enjoy what was created for me, and then move on to the next thing. I've always been like that. Mm-hmm. I don't want to get stuck in something. I don't want to keep doing the same thing over and over again because I'm not insane. I can't do the same thing and expect different results.
Did you play this on easy?
Of course I did.
I honestly don't know what the difference is. I played on normal, but
I'm assuming enemies take more hits, they do more damage. I'm assuming
that would make sense.
Basic stuff like that. I mean, I play on easy, of course, because any game that gives me an option, I'm going to pick the easiest.
Right.
I can't get myself to pick hard. I used to pick harder difficulties, but there was a point during the 360 era where I would get angry at something, and I was just like, why am I doing this? I mean, it was for achievements, but I just stopped. And then now I don't care about that, so I completely moved on from that in that world.
Apparently, if you beat the game on normal, you unlock hard mode. Damage taken is double. Enemies are often multiplied or replaced with tougher versions of themselves, and upgrades are less effective. Energy tanks only add 50 energy instead of 100. Missiles are only 2, and super missiles are 1.
That's just unnecessary. I mean, for some people, sure. I mean, the Game Boy Advance game is something you would have popped in your backpack and brought with you, and you would have been playing it. You might not have had a lot of cartridges, so I can understand. I mean, it's nice. I'm glad features are there because there are people who love love extra features. I am not one of them, but I'm glad that they exist for the people that make use.
Well, those people will be happy to know if you beat the game on hard mode, you unlock the sound test.
That's it?
Yeah.
That used to be a thing, right? Where people were like very excited for sound tests?
Oh, probably.
Okay.
They were real big in the 16-bit era.
I can't remember. I only remember them for like certain games like Sonic where I'd use them for cheats.
Yep. And Comic Zone.
Fuck that game.
I love that game.
That game's a shit. But that's not what we're here for. Someday we can talk about it. So this game also added a bunch of mini bosses because the original Metro only has Kraid, Ridley, and Mother Brain. And I mean, even though the mini bosses all seem to have something to do with being bugs, pretty much, but I like them.
Yeah, they tend to offer more variety than Kraid and Ridley do, where you just spam them with missiles, and the mini bosses you have to hit them in certain areas. Usually, you have to wait for an opening and whatnot. Like the first one's the centipede or whatever the hell it is.
Centipede works.
Yeah, it burrows to the ground and blocks off your exit route.
I like that.
Yeah, it's a pretty fun boss. You got to shoot it in its eye when it's open after it takes a swipe at you.
And you run into him like 3 times, I think, before you actually get to kill him.
It depends.
You don't do it right.
So it said I restarted today, and I was glad I did because I was able to take him out on the first meeting.
Did you get anything for it?
No, it gives you the charge beam or whatever he drops for you.
Oh yeah, he dropped. Okay, I thought he dropped something, but I couldn't remember.
I think it was that because all of a sudden I was playing and I'm like, when did I get the charge beam? I think it was him.
I think you're right.
But yeah, I thought that was pretty cool because otherwise, yeah, like you said, you would run into him multiple times as you try to progress.
Which is very cool. The screen starts shaking, then he pops out, and it impressed me. It impressed me. And that's the thing, like, it's not normal for me to want to keep replaying a game, and that this game it did that to me. I had a really good time replaying it. It took me about a couple days because I beat most of it in one sitting though. It was Saturday, and I just kept playing. I couldn't stop. Partly because I needed to, but
yeah, it does help that it's so short.
I love short games. And then also you have another mini boss that was added. Is some kind of like giant worm that pops out of like acid or something and like tries to grab you, and you have to jump from side to side to hit it in his weak point. It's a cool little change though.
Yeah, definitely.
I didn't realize how much this game likes bug bosses until I kind of thought about it right now.
I didn't think about it until you just pointed it out.
Yeah, and I'm like, It makes sense though. I mean, they're not because the other enemies like are supposed to be part of the space. Like Ridley, Kraid, they're both space pirates working with Mother Brain, which is an android, I guess. Other things are just things that are living on this planet.
I want to see the ship that transported Kraid around, as big as he is.
Well, in the original version, he's a little guy. He's as big as you.
You're right.
Yeah, I've always been curious how the hell does Kraid get around? Because like the other thing about this game, it has little cutscenes, kind of like little images you can see, like story where it gives you some story beats of what's happening. I like those too. I thought they were kind of cool.
I like that first one with Mother Brain where it shows just a brain in a jar and the eyeball just kind of like, I don't even know what word to describe it. It just kind of appears out of the brain itself. It's kind of like horror-ish.
Yeah, I mean that's a good way to put it. This game. I mean, I always think Metroid can fit a little bit on the horror side. This one is less because it's more adventure than anything. Fusion's a little more horror, but I think Super Metroid can be a little bit on horror too. At least isolation. Super Metroid is very isolation.
Yeah, it's isolation and atmosphere that does it for sure.
This game's a little bit just more adventure, as I just said. Like it never feels overwhelming. It never feels like you're completely isolated. You're getting power-ups that help you out a decent amount. Periodically, you're getting new upgrades. Like you never feel completely just terrified of the world around you.
It helps that in this game, I think, is the best that Samus controls. The movement is so fluid. Like Fusion and even Super Metroid feel kind of stiff, and the jumping's kind of floaty. But in this, I feel like the platforming benefits really, really well from the way that Samus moves.
Yeah, they did a good job with it. She fits well with the Game Boy Advance controller too, just the style with the buttons. They did a good job with the buttons they had.
Yeah, definitely.
And I was very happy with it.
She moves like a ninja.
Okay, I'll take it. And the other thing that was very nice about this game too is that you get, I shouldn't really say nice, but odd and interesting. You get some equipment that you can't use right away. You get certain upgrades that have absolutely no use. It says unknown item, not compatible. Oh well. And you're like, what the hell is this? I remember getting annoyed when this happened. I'm like, I want equipment the first time I played this game. Like, I don't want things that don't do anything. But playing the game the second time, I'm like, this is actually kind of cool that you're getting stuff that's not compatible with her suit because of what's coming. And it's just, she's not really supposed to be here.
This is my biggest complaint with this game, other than the Mother Brain fight, is that it gives you a lot of toys that you don't get access to until the very end of the game.
I want to say it's only 3.
Yeah, it's the space jump, gravity suit, and the screw attack.
I'm okay with that.
Or no, you get one. I think you get the space jump. Whatever. The plasma beam is the other one.
I'm completely okay with that, though. I don't have a problem with it.
So that's the best thing about Metroidvanias is you get all these toys and you get to explore the world and use them on enemies or to get around. And this one, it locks them away, those 3, until like the last 5% of the game.
Yeah, but that's because they're just the way. I'm assuming those weren't in the original game. That's partly why they did that.
True. Yeah.
So It doesn't bother me. It makes sense.
Yeah, that's fair. But still, it's kind of a bummer. I want to use my plasma beam to destroy space pirates.
I mean, I also like it. You don't fight a lot of space pirates till near the end, which I'm okay with too. Because I mean, this is their base, but they're not really concerned about you. They're doing whatever they're doing here. You're infiltrating their base, trying to find them.
Well, yeah, it's not until after you beat Kraid that you see the little cutscene with Ridley and all the space pirates coming back to the planet. So they've been off-world anyway, apparently.
Which I like that he's not even here. He's somewhere else until you start causing problems and he comes back.
Maybe he's been off building a weird robot version of himself.
I also, it should be mentioned that Ridley is the one in canon that kills her parent.
That guy gets around.
And it's the same Ridley in most of the games that you keep killing, too.
Yeah, I think Fusion's got a different one, and then, of course, this one's got the robot that I just mentioned. But
Fusion has the one that's, in fact, has something to do with the Omega. No. Fusion's a clone, because they had his body from one of the other times.
He's a version of the X-Parasite took it over, too.
Super Metroid, the same Ridley from here. I don't remember all the details, but I do know like it's in Prime and everything. It's the same guy.
There's a Ridley timeline like the Zelda timeline.
Metroid, I don't. I know the Zelda timeline better. I don't know Metroid timeline super well. I just know there is a lore to this series. This
is the first game. Fusion's the last game. Everything else is in between.
Okay, I'll take it. It's true, and I know that, but okay. It's kind of weird to think we got 2 Metroid games in this generation in Game Boy Advance, and then how many have we had since then?
We got the Prime games.
Okay, but how many 2D ones have we got since Fusion? 1.
Yeah, there was supposed to be that Metroid Dread.
Yeah, it's supposed to be a lot of things, but...
Yeah, well, we got Federation Force. Does that count?
No. Never played it, though, so I can't say if it's good or bad.
I bought it not too long ago, but I haven't put any time into it.
I can tell you Triforce Heroes is not good, so... That's a bad game.
Unless you have 2 other people to play with, I hear.
Still a bad game. I had 3 people. Bad game.
Oof.
So don't expect that one on the show ever.
We'd have to buy his 3DS.
Yeah, I have a 3DS. But also the other thing I want to talk about, you mentioned earlier with Ridley and how like Ridley comes. I like everything with Ridley. I think Ridley's also a good fight in this game. It isn't too hard. Like, you can just massacre him super quick with super missiles.
Yeah. Well, when we fought him in Fusion back in December, I remember at one point he grabbed me and I couldn't shake loose and he just killed me. Like, I don't know if it was a bug or what, but I felt so helpless. In this game, it was, like I said earlier, it's just fun to just unload missiles on him until he goes down.
Fusion's just hard.
It is hard.
And that's the thing about this game. It isn't that difficult. I mean, if it's your first Metroid, this could work perfectly as a first Metroid. I mean, it is Metro Zero Mission, but I still think it's just it's a very good, type game for someone that just wants to play a fun game.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, there is challenge. It's not easy, but it's not like overly beat the shit out of you type of game.
Yeah. And like we said before, it's got those different difficulty settings if you do want more of a challenge.
And it's beautiful.
Yeah,
the graphics, I think, are really good. I mean, I like how the backgrounds, I think, are very good, and it just has a very good style to it. And Samus, the Samus sprite really pops out too, I want to say.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
I blame part of that on the fact that Game Boy Advance originally didn't have the backlight, and you had all those issues with some of the early games, like Castlevania Circle of the Moons. I think that has something to do with it, but I'm okay with that.
Yeah, but then you got the other side of the other side of the coin where you get the Mario Advance games. They all have a weird white tint to them to offset that darkness.
I don't know what you're talking about, unfortunately, but
yeah, it's okay.
Okay, I'm okay with that. I mean, it doesn't bother me. I know it bothers some people, but it doesn't bother me at all.
But yeah, this game does look really good. Those cutscenes, they kind of look like living comic panels for what little movement there is in them, but they look really good.
Put it. I like that description. And before we move on from Ridley, because I kind of started talking about him, I just want to say I like the Ridley fight. It's not very difficult. You can beat the shit out of him real fast, but it's cool.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I said what I needed to say.
Now you can fight him in Smash Ultimate all you want.
I never played it yet.
It's so good.
Someday. And this game and when is the other boss that comes up? Because they did add another secret boss. I know at some point, I want to say it's before Ridley, right? When you fight the bug 2 times.
Yeah, it's right after you get the wave beam.
That is a very interesting style of fight.
Yeah, I don't know that I would call it a boss.
It's a boss. It's a 2-part boss. First, you have the cocoon that you have to shoot the roots of the cocoon, and then you drop it down, and you have to go down to Ridley's area. And then you get stuck. You can't go. And I didn't know what to do. I had to actually look up a video. You have to go back up the elevator, and then one of the hallway that you went by earlier now has a hole in it because the bug had woken up and dug, and you have to go down the hole, and you run into the second part of the boss fight.
Yeah, that's one thing I'll never forget about this game, because I remember doing that same thing where you go down to Ridley's lair and just what do? I can't go anywhere. Like, see, you go back up and the bug's gone.
That is fun. Like when you fight the giant bug moth thingy, whatever the hell it is, and he's going back and forth and he's trying to take you out.
I was referring to the bug that you have to knock back and then drop the bombs to damage.
Oh, okay, the big slug things that are regular enemies.
Yeah, I forgot about the God, what the hell is that thing's name? Where you shoot the tail. Yeah.
I thought it was cool though.
It is cool. It's very easy. It's lure him to one side and then chase him down the hill, shooting missiles into his tail.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that though.
Nah, it's still fun. That's where you get the super missiles. Unless you sequence broke.
Okay, I didn't remember that. That's where you get them.
Mm-hmm. I only know that because I did it half an hour ago.
Super missiles make quick work of everything, but it's a fun mini boss fight.
It is
definitely worth doing.
Oh yeah, well,
you don't have a choice.
Yeah,
I like it. I like it as a cool addition to the game. And for me, getting to boss fights in a Metroidvania game, I always feel like, okay, I reach a checkpoint in a way, and I feel like I accomplished something.
Uh-huh. And it's always nice that every time you fight a boss, you get something right after. Oh
yeah, this game, like I said, this game does a very good job of handing you things to get you excited. That placebo effect, or whatever the hell. It's not the word I want, but it's the only word I can think of at the moment.
The dopamine drop.
Dopamine, yes.
Even if you beat Ridley and you get something you can't use.
I'm okay with it, because I knew it wasn't going to be that long. Because after you beat Ridley, the game is not much longer, after, the main game, before the extra stuff. You beat Ridley, you go back to a room you saw earlier with a Ridley and Kraid statue that are now open, and then you continue on into the Space Pirates lab.
Yeah, Turian. Where you fight Right, the Metroids.
The first cutscene of where when you come in the living comic panel and you see like a dead body and you see these black jellyfish on him, and all of a sudden they start to put the light on, they turn green. You see the Metroid, and you just see one just go at the camera.
Yeah, they tried to get a jump scare into their Game Boy Advance game.
It's cool. I mean, Metroid, like I remember as a kid, people would talk about, oh, the Metroids are terrifying. I'm like, what the hell are you talking about? I never got very far in Super Metroid. I never played Metroid 1. I never played Metroid 2. So I'm just like, what are you talking about? It never, I'm like, they're just jellyfish. I had no, nothing to go off of.
They're parasites that drain the life out of anything they latch onto.
Yeah.
And they can only be damaged with the ice beam and missiles.
Which I think is cool that it's ice, which is what their weakness is.
Mm-hmm.
Plays a big part in fusion. But the Metroids are cool, like where you can't go through a room until you kill all the Metroids in the room, and they're hidden in the background until they just pop out, and you have dead space pirates all over the place. Like it's a little horror. Very cool.
They've been on a little bit of a feeding frenzy.
So because I can't remember where the Metroids are from. I think the planet where fusion takes place.
Yeah, SR388.
Yeah, it doesn't. I've come after watching a lot of Stargate SG-1. That would probably be what we would do when we start discovering planets. It would just be numbers and letters like that.
Yeah,
that's what Stargate does. Oh, this is PX339. So I think that would just be what would happen. So Metroids are very cool. Like you go through the lab, you have the stupid, like you called them Cheerios, little laser beams being shot at you all the time. But it's still, they're nice because you can get items from them. You get powered up.
True. I think the green ones have a better chance of dropping items.
And then should we talk about your favorite boss fight of the game?
I think we kind of touched on it before. I
still want to talk about some more.
It's dumb.
I had no problem with it this playthrough. I had no problem whatsoever.
I don't know what the deal was. Like, with all this stuff you have to dodge, it kept knocking me into the lava.
If you can dodge a bullet, you can dodge a beam. Like, I mean, I did almost die twice because I had to do the fight twice. I beat the fight the first time, hit the wrong button, and reloaded my save right before I fought him and had to refight him like an idiot.
Nice. I will say, across my 1 3/4 playthrough, I did not die one time.
Well, I didn't die either, but then again, I was cheating, so.
You would.
But also getting to Mother Brain, like, you have to shoot these barriers that like are up in the way before you get there, and there's lava that tears you to pieces if you let it get you.
I did not realize that those barriers regenerate if you don't destroy them fast enough.
Yes, once they're gone, but if you don't destroy them, they come back.
Because I got one down to a sliver and then got knocked into lava by something or other. So I'm like, I'll just shoot it from down here. I jump up and shoot it, and I jump up and shoot it. I'm like, yeah, that doesn't seem like it's going anywhere. Mm-hmm. And it was until I got back on the platform that I saw it regenerate. What the heck?
And I do want to talk about the Mother Brain fight. So you have like this giant brain you have to hit. That's first is in a glass tube. You have to shoot missiles to break the glass, and then you have these two little platforms you have to stay on where you have things shooting you next to you to drop you into the lava. And it's kind of cool. I mean, I thought it was a cool fight. I know probably a lot of people don't like it, but I actually enjoyed it for some reason.
I feel like I don't think Super Metroid, and I don't even think the original game had the guns shooting at you. I feel like if those were gone, I would have had an easier time with it.
And that's probably why they added them.
That could be.
And then you have the famous escape scene that everyone remembers in Metroid 1, where you have to get out of it and get back to your ship.
This one's probably the toughest one out of all the Metroid games because all the platforms you're jumping on
are crumbling.
They deteriorate.
Annoying, but cool.
It is cool.
I wouldn't have made it. Maybe I had help making it get up there. But I also didn't realize that the ship she has in this game is not the same ship she normally has. And I'm like, why is that? But there's a reason.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I didn't piece those together.
I didn't either, but I'm watching the game right now while we've been talking. I'm like, oh, yeah, it's a different ship.
So, yeah, like you said before, this is where the original Metroid ended. You beat Mother Brain, you planet explodes, and you're off to your next mission. But they're like, nah, that's not going to work this time around. We're going to add some more. So suddenly, somehow, Samus's ship is surrounded by space pirates.
Okay, I can believe that by watching many science fiction shows lately. Especially if her ship was damaged from the explosion of the planet, she might not be able to activate hyperspeed. And the idea of being in space on hyperspeed is you're always a target. Star Wars has taught me that. Star Trek has taught me that. Stargate SG-1 has taught me that. So I believe it.
And she just kind of opens her eyes, and there's suddenly space pirates in every direction.
She also takes off her armor.
She does take her off her armor. That probably won't bite her in the butt.
I do want to say that the ship crashing and her all of a sudden getting out of it, she'd be dead. But, I'll take it because
it's that Chozo blood, man.
Yeah, because she's only part human.
Right.
The Chozo did something to her. I forget what, but they did something to her.
She's a bird lady now.
And is it the same? It's the same planet, right? That they crashed on, because after she gets shot down, I want to say it's still Zeeb, just a different part of Zeeb.
She flies off, and then, like you said, they shoot her, which is why she's got the different ship in future games. But I don't know.
It says Shozita. Maybe it is a different planet. You go to the same place. It's the same planet. Never mind. Same planet.
I was gonna say it would have to be because you can backtrack after.
Yeah, it's just that you have this giant ship that landed right on top of some ruins. Thankfully for her. But so why don't you introduce who you get to play as for a bit?
This is where they introduced Zero Suit Samus. This is the first place before Smash Brothers Brawl that we see Samus without the power armor.
Which this is an interesting part. It's a 2D, mostly stealth part. I mean, you get a map pretty quickly that shows you everywhere you need to go or where you can go as you're exploring.
Yeah.
And you have a pistol that's kind of useless. That has to recharge and.
She even calls it useless in the little text box. She's like, all I had was a mostly useless emergency pistol.
It stuns them at full power, which you can use to get past them.
Oh yeah, you need to.
I didn't actually. Not at first. I don't know why I just didn't, but I like the stealth part. I like how there's parts where you'll jump up and hide an event or hide somewhere, and they'll be stupid. Oh, she must be gone. Turn off the alarm. Back to normal. Back to work, everybody.
I'd start going in this room. There's this little waist-high hole down the ground, but she's probably gone.
It's kind of funny. I'm okay with it, but it is cool to be where Samus is usually the predator, and here she's being hunted by these space pirates, and she can't do anything, and you're running from them constantly, and I think it's a very interesting part.
I love this part of the game. Like I said earlier, Samus controls so fluidly, and just being able to do wall jumps and crawling through the vents and whatnot and just dodging space pirates is so satisfying in this. I texted you the other day. It's like, wow, I really like 2D stealth. It's like, it was so much fun just running through this area.
It really is interesting. Like, it's a really cool thing. And it's cool that they added something more to this game, making it to just a remake. And they could have ended it right there and people still would have been happy. And you get this whole extra section, which is very interesting.
But they needed every excuse they could to show Samus's butt in that Zero suit.
Yeah. I mean, hell, I have the amiibo above me on my desk right now of Zero Suit Samus. So, hey, I didn't buy it for Smash Brothers. I just bought it because.
The first shot of her outside the wreck ship is just a long shot of her from behind. Good on you, Nintendo. It's like Tony said, Nintendo got horny.
I like Tony. And then you have searchlights at different points. They try to you have to kind of dodge. I mean, even if the thing is so cool is that even if you get spotted by stuff, it doesn't really matter. You can easily just keep going and you'll be all right.
Their shots do a full energy tank of damage. But...
Okay, that hurts a little bit, but
yeah,
less on easy, by the way.
Oh, that's normal too.
Oh, I think easy did less though.
Oh, that could be.
And then there's laser lights you have to dodge too. It's just a very interesting part, and I really enjoyed it. And I mean, you don't really know what's coming on. The whole point is that you're running through the ship trying to get to the ruins because you end up getting a new power suit in the ruins. Yeah,
after you shoot an image of yourself, or you try to avoid shooting an image of yourself.
Something like that.
It's a weird, quote-unquote, boss fight.
Have you played Final Fantasy IV?
Most of it.
There's a part when Cecil becomes a paladin where he can't hit himself, or the fight will never end. He'll just lose.
Oh,
that's what it reminded me of, because you have to shoot the balls when they open, but not shoot the thing that looks like you.
Yeah, it's very strange.
It's interesting.
Oh yeah, for sure.
And when you get the suit back, the amount of power you feel in that little part is just mwah. You just murder the space pirates that have been giving you shit as Zero Suit Samus, and it is great.
Yeah, because now you've got the screw attack and the plasma beam, so you're just tearing through them. Except for those gray ones. Those guys are assholes.
There's only two of them. There's only a couple, though. Maybe two or three. There's not very many. Because when she gets your suit back, the unknown items you got earlier now get activated. And I really like the purple suit, too. I think it looks badass.
Yeah, gravity suit's pretty cool. It lets you move freely in water.
I mean, it's a fun part. You can, if you wanted to, you can go back to the entire game and get all the power-ups that you might have missed, or you would have missed because you don't have options. You get the power bomb inside the ship, too. for the first time. Like, that's a little weird how they tease you with the power bomb. You see it, and you have to chase down some pirate who's carrying it until you finally get it.
Yeah, it is quite odd.
It's the only power up that they take for some reason. I don't know why they take it, but they take it.
Just like you said, they're just teasing the player for some reason.
Especially the way he looks at the statue laying down when none of the statues have ever been laying down. He's laying down and is right where his junk is, and I don't understand it. But it's screw attack is still great. Like I remember it when I played Smash Bros. For the first time, and I got the screw attack. I'm like, what the hell is this? I hadn't played Metroid really. I didn't know what it was. So my association with screw attack will always be the first Smash Bros. Game, not Metroid.
That's how people felt about Ness and Marth.
Okay, Marth was that for me. I knew who Ness was because I remember playing Earthbound in the Sears many times at one point in my life. I remember Sears having the demo of it, and I remember playing it.
It's so good.
Okay, it's decent. It's a good game, but it's not my favorite RPG Super Nintendo.
I'm sorry, it's not a SquareSoft RPG in the Super Nintendo.
Yeah, that's the problem. It's NX, right?
No, it's Nintendo.
Oh yeah, that's why we don't ever get it. Okay,
that's why he's in Smash.
Good point. And that's why there's no sequel, and that's why they won't make it, because Nintendo, they just don't give a shit.
Yeah, well, Toei basically said after 3 he was done with the series anyway.
Yeah, and I think 3 is a much darker game than Earthbound was. So.
Oh yeah, totally.
I never played the first Mother game.
Me neither. It's one of those ones I hear is hard to go back to.
Yeah, which makes sense. All right, enough of that. So as you progress through the ruin, through the ship, you finally get to a point where you're trying to, get out, and you have to go at the top of the ship, and you fight Mecha Ridley for some reason.
I don't know. I think Mecha Ridley's a different one.
It's not Ridley. Mecha Ridley is a robot that Ridley made of himself. Okay. It's not Ridley.
Right.
For some reason, he made a robot of himself.
Meta Ridley's in Prime.
Yes, Meta Ridley is... Let's not go there. I can't remember.
We gotta consult the Ridley timeline.
There is... I want to say it's the same Ridley after Super Metroid, because Metroid Prime takes place after Super Metroid, I think. There is an order. There actually is a complete order for all the Metroid games. For sure. I just don't remember them. I know Metroid 1, Prime 1, 2, and 3 take place right after each other, though. So, but you fight Mecha Ridley, which is a giant robot, which I didn't have a problem with this fight. It took me... I got my ass handed to me almost at first, and it took a bit. Then when I realized, because he's a giant robot that has an arm and a head, and he blocks his little glowing spot that hits him. But once I just hit him with a couple super missiles, that took care of the problem real fast. He went down super fast with super missiles.
Easy probably helps.
Easy does help. But again, like every boss fight in this game, it does a good job of giving you something to destroy to either give you health and give you missiles to keep you in the fight.
Yeah.
Where in some Metroid games, I feel like that doesn't happen. Or if you run out of missiles, it's game over. You're done.
Well, you got to rely on the charge beam at that point.
As I said, game over. You're done. I never liked the charge beam. I've never been able to hit. I don't know. Missiles work for me. Charge beam never does. Plus, I feel it's not as strong.
Well, yeah.
And after you beat Mecha Ridley, you have another escape scene where then she jumps into one of the space pirate ships to fly off. But I love how the way you do it is there's a guy in there. He jumps out. You shoot him, then you jump in.
Trying to get the one up on you.
I mean, I thought that it doesn't work out so well for him. You just kill his ass. But still, like, it was a lot of fun. I had a great time. It's not like your Metroid Fusion where that final boss fight really kind of troubles me.
Yeah.
Just none of this troubled me, really. It was just fun.
Yeah, I still don't understand why they went such a different route with Fusion.
Because people probably complained this game was too easy.
Oh, Fusion was before this.
Oh, yeah. Good point. I should know that, because we talked about that before on this very show.
2 months ago.
Not when people hear this.
Yeah, well.
I know. Time paradox, Snake! That's why I stated it right in the beginning of this episode. It's like, yeah, this isn't what you think it is.
Right.
I don't know when I'm going to publish this. But I don't know. I was just so amused when that little pilot jumps out and you just shoot him and take a ship and then you escape.
They try to get that one last jump scare on you.
Yeah, and this is the one that had the black pirates that you were talking about that are a little bit stronger space pirates, which reminded me of the Ridley fight in Super Metroid where you have different colored space pirates that are really difficult right before.
Those guys really dicks. Those gold ones? Yeah.
These aren't that bad. But and then she steals a ship, she flies off, and the ship blows up with all the space pirates.
And yet somehow there's still plenty to come make your life hell in future games.
Well, I mean, it's a clan of people, not like it's just one ship. There's probably many ships.
True.
This is just, you just took out a big ship, I mean, Ridley somehow keeps coming back to life, and Mother Brain comes back multiple times.
Yeah, that's another one's like, how's that? She's not going anywhere. She's just a brain stump. A planet exploded.
Nintendo loves their keeping stuff the same.
Yeah, that's definitely true. Especially when it comes to villains.
Yeah. All right. Any last things you want to cover about this before we go to shelf, stack, or box?
I think we covered it pretty well.
All right. And I think we should go to shelf, stack, or box. And I'll go first. As I've said this multiple times on this show and other places, this game is going on the shelf. I really like this Metroid game. It hits the things that I need. It's not super long. It's not super complicated. It's fun. I have a good time. I always feel like I'm getting somewhere. Even if I only play for 10 minutes, I feel like I did and accomplished something. And that's what I like in any game. So going on the shelf, I'm very thankful that I keep playing this little game. How about you, Mike?
It's definitely going on the shelf too. I said just the fact that Samus controls so well in this makes it fun to run through, and that short completion time makes it very doable. I think if Super Metroid was a little more condensed and Samus was a little less floaty, it'd probably rival this one. But right now, I think this might be my top 2D Metroid game.
Okay.
I got to revisit Prime and see where that one stacks up for the whole series.
Well, I can tell you it's not a 2D Metroid game, so.
I do know that.
Okay, good. I was a little worried there for a second.
I'm surprised there's not a fan version of that, or a 2D Metroid Prime, since they
I'm
to.
I'm a little surprised, too.
Since there's, 8-bit Final Fantasy VII and whatnot.
I keep forgetting people do that stuff. Oh, and if you are looking to buy this game, the only way to buy it, which I don't know if this will still exist by the time you hear it, the Wii U Virtual Console. Otherwise, a used copy for Game Boy Advance. Because for some reason, Nintendo, just port this game to Switch.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, this is in case things change by the time you hear this in the next couple months. We're recording this in February. So, again, I don't know why Nintendo just doesn't port this, charge $10 for it, $5 for it. People would buy it.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
But I, probably not, but people would.
I'd buy it.
Yeah.
If I could put it on my 3DS, I'd absolutely buy it. But the 3DS doesn't exist for them anymore either. So
it's also so weird.
But they only
system that this never came out again. Like Microsoft would just keep releasing stuff like this, where Nintendo's like, no, we're just gonna save it. We can charge $60 for it and put it together with Fusion for the Switch one day.
They got to put it back in the Disney Vault. That was the thing before Disney Plus. Maybe Nintendo needs a Nintendo Plus.
And they just found they love their vault.
$100 a year, and you can play every classic Nintendo game.
Yeah, 100 to be 300. Who are you kidding? And also, as I've said before, actually, that about wraps up. If you need more Metroid and you want to hear me talk about more Metroid, I'm assuming my opinion from 43 has changed. Maybe I don't remember what I said in episode 43 when I covered this the first time. I got nothing. If you need more Metroid, there's that. You can listen to that. You also I want to give another shot. Hey, I like that game, or they covered this game too, thanks to me. I made them. So you can hear their opinion on it. If you need more Metroid, we also covered Metroid Fusion. Do you remember what episode that was?
Nope.
All right.
Early 100s.
Yeah. 103, by the way.
There you go.
So 60 episodes after we covered Metroid Zero Mission. That's kind of funny. And then Super Metroid was episode 1, but don't listen to that crap. Hopefully at the time that you're hearing this, maybe Super Metroid already exists as a recovered, or it's coming. I can tell you that much.
It's definitely on the list.
Yeah. This wasn't supposed to be the first recovered. It just kind of happened that way because I had to play it anyway, and I figured, why not,
might as well.
We want to start doing more of these recovered, so that way, some people that don't want to scroll through, they go, oh, hey, we're covering that game, they can listen to it again.
Yeah.
And plus, I feel like my opinion might have changed in a year.
And hopefully by the time I do the next one, it'll be a little less awkward to get through.
Oh, my opening?
No, just in general. We've been kind of all over the place.
Not when people hear it.
Yeah, that's fine.
Oh, yeah, they'll hear that part. I don't cut out stuff. It's fine. It's Metroid. Metroid can be played. Hey, I watched enough speedruns. It can be played however you want to play it.
That's true.
Some people fight Ridley right away.
Well, one thing we didn't talk about this is there are different little images that you unlock for beating the game in different ways, and one of them is beating the game with less than 15% items.
I can't imagine doing that.
It'd be tough.
Yeah.
You basically have to space out which ones you want to pick up.
Yeah, you won't see me doing that.
I did.
Is there any kind of trick scene if you beat the game faster in this one? Like you see, Samus almost naked or anything like that, like the first one? I can't remember.
There's the different ones of her in the two-piece suit where she's got the orange top and bottom on.
Oh, okay.
There's one of her sitting in a bar, and there's one of her lounging by a window. Basically the costumes that she has in Smash.
Because she doesn't get any other costumes in this game, right?
No.
I didn't think so, but I wanted to ask.
No Justin Bailey this time around.
I do not get that reference.
It's the code you put into the original game to play as Samus without the power suit.
Okay. Now
Back when she had green hair.
She had green hair at first? Okay. See how much I pay attention to Metroid? All right, but that about wraps up our first recovered episode. I want to thank you for listening. If you enjoyed this, go check out all the rest of them that we did. We got a bunch of, well, not recovered, all the other episodes that we do. Other Metroid, everything else in the show is done.
Unless this isn't the first recover, then ignore that.
Yeah, I assume it will be.
Those good old time paradoxes.
I like time paradoxes in the show.
Yeah.
A lot.
I know.
It's kind of what happened after you joined, a lot of time paradoxes. All right, so I want to thank you for listening. Want to give a shout out to our awesome intro and outro, courtesy of Bubby, a.k.a. Mike Stoney from ZP Bite the Bullet, Song of the Cool Kid Squad. Definitely go check him out. You'll see a link in his YouTube. Link in the show notes for his YouTube channel. Please follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and YouTube. We are on YouTube. We have been for a while now. Please go subscribe, because at the time of hearing this, I still don't have 100 subscribers. I better by the time you hear this, hopefully. Not that far off. But so anyway, subscribe. I mean, hey, we eventually will be video content someday. I keep telling myself.
That's the plan.
I don't know when. I don't know when I want to show my face to the world on YouTube, but someday. All right. And I think that's all I need to say. We will see you guys next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.